The bullet tore through the air, aimed directly at Maya's head. June's world slowed to a crawl as he saw death coming for his wife. There was no thought, no decision, just his body moving on pure instinct. He launched himself forward, every muscle screaming as he collided with Maya and sent them both crashing to the ground. The gunshot cracked through the conference room like thunder, and then there was blood. So much blood. But that moment was still hours away. Right now, everything was perfect. Last time on the Dawn's possessive obsession, a drunken mistake turned into an unexpected marriage. A woman running from heartbreak found herself in the arms of Seoul's most feared man. And somehow, against all odds, they fell in love. But love doesn't mean safety. And in June and Maya's world, even happiness comes with a price. If you're ready for a story where romance meets danger and love is tested by blood, hit that subscribe button now. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Maya woke to the sound of baby Zara's soft coos from the nursery. Several months had passed since that terrifying kidnapping, months of building a life she never imagined possible. She slipped out of bed carefully, not wanting to wake June, and padded barefoot to their daughter's room. Golden sunrise spilled through the windows as she lifted Zara from the crib. The baby girl looked up at her with June's dark eyes, and Maya's heart squeezed with overwhelming love. "Good morning, beautiful girl," she whispered, settling into the nursing chair. "You're up early." June's voice came from the doorway, rough with sleep. Maya turned to find him leaning against the frame, shirtless, hair messy in that way that made him look deathly handsome, maybe a little too handsome. "Someone was hungry," Maya said, stroking Zara's cheek as she nursed. June crossed the room and knelt beside the chair, his hand resting on Maya's knee. He watched his daughter with an expression of pure wonder that Maya had seen countless times but never got tired of. "I never knew I could feel this," he said quietly, "this complete." The big bad Mafia boss, defeated by a 4-month-old. June's lips curved into that rare, genuine smile he reserved only for them. Not defeated, conquered. There's a difference. When Zara finished nursing, they worked together to put her down for her morning nap. It was their routine now, these quiet moments before the day demanded June's attention. They moved in synchronized silence, June changing Zara's diaper while Maya prepared the crib. When their daughter finally settled, June pulled Maya close, his arms wrapping around her waist. "We have that charity gala tonight," he murmured against her hair. "The one for the children's hospital." Maya had almost forgotten. "I'm not sure I want to leave, Zara. We'll only stay an hour, 2 at most. Min-jae will personally oversee security here." He kissed her temple. "Besides, I want to show off my beautiful wife." Maya laughed. "You're impossible, my love," she said, with her hand on his chest. His hand slid lower on her waist, pulling her closer. "Have I told you how much I love you today?" "Not yet." "Then I'm falling behind." He kissed her properly then, slow and deep, until Maya forgot how to breathe. That evening, Maya stood in front of their bedroom mirror, adjusting the stunning emerald dress June had picked out. It was elegant, expensive, and made her feel like royalty. Behind her, June was fastening his cufflinks, devastatingly handsome in his tailored suit. "You're staring," she said, catching his eyes in the mirror. "I'm allowed to stare at my wife." He crossed to her, his hands settling on her hips. "You're breathtaking. You're not so bad yourself." They kissed, soft and lingering, before heading downstairs where Min-jae waited with the car. The charity gala was everything Maya had learned to expect from Seoul's elite. Crystal chandeliers, designer gowns, and enough wealth concentrated in one ballroom to fund the children's hospital for years. Maya stayed close to June, his hand possessive and protective on her lower back as they navigated through the crowd. "Mr. Park, a moment please?" A group of businessmen approached, eager to speak with him. We'd love to discuss the development project in Gangnam. June glanced at Maya, who smiled. Go ahead. I'll be fine. You sure? Yes. Go. He kissed her temple. I'll be right back. Maya watched him walk away, then pulled out her phone, smiling at a new photo of Zara sleeping peacefully. She was so focused on her daughter's face that she didn't notice someone approaching until a familiar voice spoke. Maya? Wow, I didn't expect to see you here. Her blood turned to ice. She looked up to find Marcus Allister standing there with a beautiful woman on his arm, and the smugness radiating from him was almost palpable. Marcus. Her voice came out steady despite her racing heart. You look different. Good for you. His tone was condescending, like he was congratulating a child. Seoul's treating you well? I thought you went back to Atlanta considering I never heard back from you. Maya lifted her chin. I'm doing very well, actually. That's great. Really. He slipped an arm around the woman beside him. This is Stephanie. The woman extended a manicured hand, smile polite. His girlfriend, she added smoothly. Maya's gaze dropped to the offered hand, but she didn't take it. Instead, she met Stephanie's eyes with a calm, unreadable look. Stephanie's smile faltered, softening into that pitying smile that made it clear Marcus had told her all about his poor ex who couldn't get over him. So you came to the gala alone? Marcus asked, glancing around pointedly. Or are you here as a PA for your firm? Maya's jaw tightened, but her voice stayed steady. I'm not alone. Oh? Marcus raised his brows, that same infuriating smirk curving his lips. Where's your date then? Bathroom? Before Maya could answer, a familiar warmth settled behind her. A hand, firm, possessive, slid around her waist, and a low voice spoke, calm but edged with quiet menace. Everything okay here? Marcus stiffened instantly. The tone alone could have frozen fire. Maya's expression softened as she turned slightly toward him. Perfect timing, she murmured. Then, to Marcus, she said, Marcus, I'd like you to meet my husband, Park Joon-ho. The name hit like a thunderclap. The color drained from Marcus's face, and even Stephanie's polite smile faltered. Everyone in Seoul knew who Park Joon-ho was, the man no one crossed twice. Your husband? Marcus stammered. Yes. Maya leaned into June's side. He pulled her closer, eyes locked on Marcus, his expression unreadable but dangerous. We've been married for a year. Marcus looked gutted. The smugness evaporated, replaced by disbelief and a flicker of fear. Maya wasn't the heartbroken ex he remembered. She was radiant, untouchable, married to power itself. I didn't know, Marcus managed weakly. June's gaze didn't waver. His words came out low, measured, lethal. Why would you? Men like you rarely notice what they've lost until someone better takes it away, and I don't appreciate you making my wife uncomfortable. The threat hung in the air like smoke. Stephanie tugged at Marcus's arm, her voice a whisper. Marcus, let's go. Maya placed a gentle hand on June's chest, grounding him. It's okay. She turned back to Marcus, her voice clear and steady. Actually, I should thank you. Cheating on me was the best thing you ever did. It led me exactly where I was meant to be. Then she looked up at June, and his hard expression softened instantly. June's hand tightened on her waist. Then he leaned in and kissed her. Not a showy kiss, but enough to send a message. It was a warning wrapped in affection, a quiet claim. When he drew back, his gaze locked on Marcus, cold and deliberate. If you'll excuse us, he said, voice low and controlled. I'd like to dance with my wife. They walked away, leaving Marcus standing there devastated, and Maya felt nothing but satisfaction. June pulled her onto the dance floor and into his arms. Are you okay? He asked, searching her face. I'm perfect. and she meant it. Thank you for the dramatic rescue. Always. He smiled against her hair. Though you were handling him fine on your own, I just wanted to make sure he understood you're taken. Very taken. Completely taken. He kissed her again, softer this time. Can we go home now? I miss our daughter. Absolutely. I was about to suggest the same thing. The car ride home was quiet, but the tension between them was electric. June's hand rested on Maya's, his thumb tracing slow circles on her skin. When they finally reached the penthouse, June didn't even wait for them to get fully inside. The moment the door closed behind them, he pulled Maya against him by her waist, spinning her to face him. His lips captured hers in a kiss that was sweet and passionate and made everything else disappear. She melted into him, her hands sliding up to his shoulders as he held her close. The kiss was deep and tender, full of love and desire and gratitude all tangled together. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, June pressed his forehead to hers. That was the hottest thing I have ever seen a woman do in my life. Maya smiled, her fingers playing with his collar. What, embarrass my ex in public? Watch you stand there like a queen. He kissed her again, softer this time. So confident, so unbothered. Completely mine. His voice dropped lower. Introducing me as your husband. Watching him realize he lost everything. Maya's breath caught as he kissed her jaw, then her cheek, then found her lips again. His hand stayed on her waist, but the intensity in the way he held her made her knees weak. Zara's still only 4 months old, baby. Maya breathed against his lips, even as she pulled him closer. I'm not ready to have another one just yet. June pulled back just enough to look at her, his eyes dark and heated. Then he smiled, slow and devastating, and made a low sound in his throat that sent shivers down her spine. The sound was pure possession and attraction, and made Maya forget how to breathe. Who said anything about right now? His voice was rough silk. I just want to kiss my incredible wife. He leaned in again, and Maya rose on her toes to meet him. The kiss was deep and thorough, his arms wrapping around her back, holding her close like he never wanted to let go. Someone cleared their throat loudly behind them. They froze. Slowly, reluctantly, they turned toward the sound. Joon-suk stood near the living room entrance, his expression carefully neutral, though Maya could see the tension in his shoulders. Min-jae stood behind him, looking equally uncomfortable and grim. Sorry to interrupt, Joon-suk said, not sounding sorry at all. But we have a problem. The transformation was instant. June's entire body went rigid, the loving husband disappearing in a heartbeat. In his place stood the cold, dangerous leader of the Seoul Syndicate. He stepped slightly in front of Maya, instinctively protective, and his voice came out sharp as steel. What kind of problem? Joon-suk's eyes flicked to Maya, then back to his brother. The kind we all need to discuss. Maya straightened and moved to stand beside June, her hand finding his. She felt the tension, radiating from him, felt how quickly he'd shifted from husband to leader. What's going on? She asked. Min-jae stepped forward, his expression troubled. Boss, we've been monitoring communications among the underbosses. There's been unusual activity. Private meetings we weren't informed about. Encrypted messages. Who? June's voice was deadly calm. Han is behind it. Joon-suk said quietly. He's been holding meetings without your knowledge. At least 6 members have attended. Maybe more. All old guard veterans. All men who served under our father. Maya felt June's hand tighten around hers. How long? 2 weeks that we know of. Could be longer. Min-jae pulled out his phone, showing encrypted message logs. We intercepted some communications. They're unhappy about the peace treaty with the Jade Serpents. They think the organization has been compromised. They think you've gone soft. Joon-suk added carefully, his eyes on Maya for a moment. They blame the changes on personal attachments. They believe Maya has made you weak. The words hung heavy in the air. Maya's chest tightened, but she kept her expression steady. She'd known this might happen, that not everyone would accept what they'd built. But hearing it confirmed still stung. What are they planning? June asked, each word measured and dangerous. We don't know yet, but Han's been vocal, talking about restoring the old ways, about the syndicate needing leadership that puts the organization above everything else. Jun-suk's jaw clenched. He's convinced that Maya is a weakness. June was silent, but Maya could see his mind working, calculating threats and responses. When he spoke, his voice was ice. I want surveillance on all of them, every move, every conversation. And I want our most loyal men ready to move the moment there's a confirmed threat. Already in place, Minjai confirmed. But there's more. Han's been pushing for a full syndicate meeting, publicly demanding it. He says the organization deserves transparency about recent decisions. Maya understood immediately. He wants a platform, a place where he can challenge you in front of everyone. June looked down at her, something flickering in his eyes. Exactly. Then give it to him, Maya said firmly. Call the meeting yourself. Let everyone speak. Answer their questions. Show them you're not afraid. Maya, that's dangerous. If Han's planning something, then face it head on. She turned to look at him fully. If you refuse, you prove their point. But if you call it yourself, you control it. You show strength. Joon-suk nodded slowly. She's right. Refusing makes you look compromised. Calling it yourself shows confidence. June stared at Maya for a long moment, then pulled her closer, his arm around her waist. Hyung, he said to Joon-suk, I need maximum security, armed guards, weapons checks, everything. Of course, Joon-suk said, and Maya stays here. No. Maya's voice was firm. She looked him in the eye. I'm coming. Absolutely not. These men blame you. I won't put you in a room with them. They blame me, which is exactly why I need to be there. She touched his chest, feeling his heart pounding hard. If I hide, I prove their point, that I'm a weakness. But if I stand beside you and face them, I show them I'm not going anywhere. June's jaw clenched, torn between protecting her and respecting her strength. It could get dangerous, Maya. These are violent men. I know, but I can handle it. She cupped his face, making him look at her. You've always said I'm brave, that I stand up for what matters. Let me stand up for us, for our family. He closed his eyes, pressing his forehead to hers. You're going to be the death of me. Is that a yes? Yes. But with conditions. His eyes opened, fierce. Extra security. You stay by my side. And at the first real sign of danger, you leave. No arguments. Deal. Joon-suk cleared his throat. So we're calling the meeting? Yes. June's voice rang with authority. Full syndicate assembly, 3 days from now. That gives us time to prepare and gives Han enough the rope if he's planning something. I'll arrange everything, Minjai said, heading for the door. After they left, silence fell over the penthouse. The romantic moment from before felt like a lifetime ago, replaced by cold reality. June pulled Maya close, both arms around her, holding her tight. You terrify me sometimes, my love. The risks you take. Maya looked up at him. We take them together. That's what we do. That's who we are. He kissed her forehead, soft and lingering. 3 days. Then we face them. 3 days, she agreed, leaning into his strength. They stood there holding each other, stealing a moment of peace before the storm they both knew was coming. Outside the windows, Seoul glittered in the darkness, beautiful and dangerous, just like the life they'd chosen together. But neither of them knew their world was about to end, Because in 3 days, everything would change, in ways neither of them could have ever imagined. If you made it this far and are already hooked, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This story is about to get intense, and you won't want to miss what happens next. 3 days passed too quickly. Maya spent them preparing, rehearsing what she'd say, but also stealing precious moments with Zara. Every time she held her daughter, she thought about the future they were fighting for, a future where Zara could grow up without constant violence and fear. The morning of the meeting arrived with gray skies that matched Maya's mood. She stood in front of the mirror, dressing in powerful, business attire that felt like armor. Behind her, Joon was fastening his watch, his expression hard and focused. "You can still change your mind," he said quietly. "Stay here with Zara where it's safe." Maya turned to face him. "We've been through this. I'm coming." He crossed to her, taking her face in his hands. "I know. Doesn't stop me from wishing you'd stay safe." "We'll be safe." She kissed him softly. "I love you. I love you too. So much it scares me sometimes." They went to the nursery where Zara was playing with the nanny. Maya picked up her daughter, holding her close, breathing in that sweet baby smell. "Mommy has to go out for a little while," she whispered. "But I'll be back soon, I promise." Zara grabbed at Maya's necklace, oblivious to the danger her parents were walking into. Joon kissed his daughter's forehead, his hand lingering on her soft hair. "Be good for the nice lady," he murmured. "Daddy loves you." Leaving her was physically painful, but they had no choice. Downstairs, Minjae waited with 3 SUVs and a security team that looked ready for war. "Everyone's in place, boss," Minjae reported. "The building is secure. All attendees will pass through weapons checks." "Good." Joon helped Maya into the middle vehicle, then slid in beside her. Joon-suk sat across from them, his expression grim. The drive to Syndicate headquarters was tense and silent. Joon held Maya's hand the entire way, his grip almost painful. She knew he was preparing himself, shifting fully into the cold, dangerous man who commanded an empire. He brought her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles. "I love you. No matter what happens, remember that." "I know. And I love you. Always." Syndicate headquarters loomed before them, an imposing building that screamed power and danger. Maya's heart pounded as they pulled up, but she kept her expression calm. She wouldn't show fear. Not today. They walked in together, Joon's hand on her lower back, Minjae and 4 guards surrounding them. The conference room was massive, designed to hold the entire Syndicate leadership. 30 men were already seated around a long table, all eyes turning to watch them enter. The tension was immediate and suffocating. Maya felt the weight of their stares, felt their judgment and hostility. But she lifted her chin and walked beside Joon like she belonged there, because she did. Joon took his seat at the head of the table, and Maya sat beside him. It was a deliberate choice, a statement that she was his equal, not something to be hidden away. Several underbosses shifted uncomfortably. 1 or 2 looked openly hostile. Han sat in the middle of the table, his scarred face impassive, but his eyes were cold and calculating as they fixed on Maya. "Thank you all for coming," Joon began, his voice carrying easily through the room. "I know there have been concerns about recent decisions, about the direction of this organization. Today, you have the chance to speak freely, without fear of retribution. I'm here to listen and to answer." Silence for a moment, then voices started. "The territory we gave the Jade Serpents was prime real estate. Our brothers died securing those streets. The old ways kept us strong. Why abandon what worked? We used to be feared. Now we negotiate like businessmen." Joon listened to each complaint, his expression neutral. When the voices died down, he spoke calmly and clearly. "The old ways kept us in constant war. We were strong, yes, But we were also bleeding. We lost men every month to territorial disputes. We spent resources on violence instead of growth. The peace treaty gave us stability and reduced our casualties to nearly zero. Our profits are up 40% because we're not constantly replacing losses and paying for conflicts. Some members nodded, reconsidering. Others remained stone-faced. Change is uncomfortable, June continued. I understand that. But ask yourselves this: do you want to build something that lasts? Or do you want to keep fighting the same battles your sons will inherit? Maya saw some of the tension easing. June was reaching them, making them think beyond their immediate anger. But Han's expression had only hardened. June turned to Maya. My wife has something to say. I ask that you listen with the same respect you'd show any member of this organization. Maya stood, her heart hammering but her voice steady. She scanned the room, meeting eyes, refusing to show the fear she felt. I know many of you blame me for the changes in this organization. You see me as an outsider, a foreigner, a woman who corrupted your values and made your leader weak. She paused, letting that sink in. But I ask you to consider something. What builds lasting power? The room was silent. Everyone listening despite themselves. Fear keeps enemies away temporarily, but it also isolates you. One organization against the world, constantly defending, constantly bleeding resources and men. Maya's voice grew stronger. Strategy, alliances, adaptation. These build empires that survive generations. The Roman Empire lasted centuries, not because they were the most brutal, but because they were smart enough to evolve. She saw several underbosses nodding slightly. The peace treaty wasn't weakness, Maya continued, passion entering her voice. We gave territories we could afford to lose, and gained stability, legitimate business expansion, and neutralized a dangerous enemy. That's not soft. That's strategic. That's smart. More nods. She was winning them over. She could feel it. I'm not asking you to like me. I'm asking you to trust your leader. To trust that together, we're building something stronger than what came before. My husband didn't get weak when he met me. He got strategic. He got a partner who challenges him, who brings new perspective. She prepared to finish strong. You can see that as corruption, or you can see it as evolution. The choice is yours. Maya sat down, her heart racing. June's hand found hers under the table, squeezing. Several underbosses were nodding now, some murmuring agreement. One spoke up. Mrs. Park speaks wisdom. Perhaps we've been too quick to judge. Another added, the numbers don't lie. We are more profitable and more stable. Hope bloomed in Maya's chest. They were reaching them. This might actually work. Then Han stood up abruptly. His chair scraped against the floor, the sound harsh and jarring. Every eye turned to him. Enough. His voice cracked through the room like a whip. I've listened to pretty words and statistics, but I've heard enough lies. The temperature in the room dropped. June tensed beside Maya. I served Park Sr. for 20 years. Han continued, his voice rising with passion. 20 years of blood and respect. 20 years when our name meant something. When enemies trembled at the mention of the Seoul Syndicate. He pointed at June, his hand shaking with rage. This organization was built on strength, on never compromising, on taking what we wanted. Your father would be ashamed of what you've become. Han, June's voice was dangerous calm. You've made your point. No. Han slammed his hand on the table. You've been compromised. This woman has made you weak, and if you can't see that, then maybe you're not fit to lead. Gasps rippled through the room. The line had been crossed. June stood slowly, his expression deadly. You question my decisions, fine. You question my leadership, fine. But you will not disrespect my wife. I'll do more than disrespect her, Han spat. She's a cancer killing this organization, and cancers need to be cut out. Maya's blood ran cold. That wasn't just rhetoric. That was a threat. Min-jae's hand moved toward his weapon, sensing danger. Joon-suk half rose from his seat, ready to intervene. "You need to choose," Han said to June, his eyes blazing with conviction. "The syndicate, or your family. Because you can't protect both." The room held its breath. Maya could feel disaster coming, could feel something terrible about to happen, but she couldn't see what. Couldn't stop it. She stood to respond, to try one more time to reach him with reason. "You're wrong. Family doesn't make us weak. It makes us—" Han's hand moved to his jacket. Everything happened in slow motion. Maya saw the movement, saw something dark being pulled from inside his coat. She heard Min-jae shout, "Gun!" from behind them. Saw June's eyes go wide with horror as he realized what was happening. The pistol came up, aimed directly at Maya's head. Han's face was twisted with rage and conviction. He truly believed he was saving the syndicate by eliminating her. June moved. He launched himself across the space between them with impossible speed, driven by pure love and terror. His body collided with Maya's, his arms wrapping around her, pushing her down and away from the line of fire. The gunshot was deafening in the enclosed space. Maya felt June's body jerk against hers from the bullet's impact, felt the moment it hit him instead of her. They crashed to the ground together, June's weight on top of her, and then she felt something warm and wet spreading across her hands. Blood. His blood. "June!" Her scream tore from her throat as chaos erupted around them. Joon-suk roared and fired at Han. Min-jae and the guards opened fire simultaneously. Other underbosses dove for cover, shouting, scrambling. The sound of gunshots was deafening, echoing off the walls. Han took multiple bullets to the chest and throat, his eyes wide with shock as he went down. Two of his conspirators tried to draw weapons but were cut down immediately by Min-jae's team. Within seconds, it was over. The room filled with gun smoke and the smell of blood and cordite. Silence except for ringing ears and heavy breathing. Maya was trapped under June's weight, his blood dripping onto her face, her clothes. She pushed at him frantically, sobbing. "Help! Somebody help him!" Joon-suk and Min-jae rushed over, rolling June off her carefully. His white shirt was completely soaked with blood, the stain spreading fast. Too fast. His face was pale, eyes unfocused. "No, no, no." Maya scrambled to him, her hands pressing on the wound in his chest. Blood pulsed between her fingers, warm and terrifying. "Stay with me. June, look at me." His hand reached up weakly, trembling as he touched her face. His fingers left a streak of his own blood on her cheek. "You're safe," he whispered, barely audible. "Yes, I'm safe because of you." Tears streamed down her face. "But I need you. Stay awake. Stay with me." His eyes tried to focus on her face, struggled to stay open. "Zara? She needs her father. We both need you." Maya's voice broke. "Don't you dare leave us. Don't you dare." His eyes rolled back, his body going completely limp in her arms. "No." "June!" Maya screamed, cradling his head. "Somebody help him, please!" Joon-suk was already pressing hard on the wound, his hands instantly soaked. "Stay with us, brother. Don't you leave me again." Min-jae had his phone out, voice urgent. "Medical team now! Park Joon-ho down. Gunshot wound to the chest. Critical. We need immediate evac." The other syndicate members stood frozen in shock. This wasn't supposed to happen. Their leader wasn't supposed to bleed out on the conference room floor. The medical team burst through the doors within minutes that felt like hours. They worked with professional efficiency, but Maya saw the concern in their eyes when they assessed June's condition. Blood pressure dropping, heart rate erratic. "We need to move now." They loaded June onto a gurney and Maya refused to let go of his hand. "I'm coming with him." "Ma'am, we need space to work." "I'm coming with him." Her voice left no room for argument. They didn't fight her. Maybe they saw something in her eyes that told them it would be pointless. She climbed into the ambulance, still covered in Joon's blood, and held his hand as they raced through Seoul's streets with sirens screaming. The medics worked frantically around her, checking vitals, starting IVs, trying to stabilize him. Maya watched the monitors, watched his blood pressure dropping, watched the numbers that told her he was slipping away. "Stay with me, baby," she whispered, her other hand stroking his face. "Please stay with me. Zara needs you. I need you." Joon's eyes fluttered open briefly, unfocused and glassy. He tried to speak but couldn't. His lips formed her name, and then his eyes closed again. "He's crashing," one medic shouted. "Pressure's dropping too fast." They worked even more frantically, and Maya was pressed against the ambulance wall, watching helplessly as they fought to keep her husband alive. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only watch the man she loved dying right in front of her. The ambulance screeched to a halt at the private hospital. Doors flew open, and they rushed Joon inside. Maya ran alongside the gurney, her hand still gripping his, refusing to let go. "Mrs. Park, we need to take him to surgery," Dr. Kim said firmly. "You can't come past this point." "I'm not leaving him." A nurse touched her arm gently. "You can't help him in there, but our surgeons can. Let them work, please." Maya looked at Joon's pale face, at the blood soaking through the bandages they'd applied. She leaned down and kissed his forehead, her tears falling on his skin. "Fight," she whispered. "You hear me? I'll be right here waiting. I love you so much." They wheeled him through the surgical doors, and Maya watched until they disappeared from view. Then her legs gave out. She slid down the wall, sitting on the cold hospital floor, covered in her husband's blood, and finally let herself fall apart. Sobs tore from her chest, violent and uncontrollable. Her hands were shaking so badly she couldn't stop them, still sticky with his blood. She could barely breathe through the panic and fear crushing her chest. Joon-suk appeared, dropping to his knees beside her. His shirt was also soaked with blood, his face streaked with it. He pulled her into his arms and they held each other, both destroyed. "He's going to make it," Joon-suk said, but his voice was shaking. "He's too stubborn not to." "He took that bullet for me," Maya choked out. "It was aimed at my head, and he didn't even hesitate. And he's not going to die. We won't let him." Joon-suk's voice cracked. Min-jae arrived with 6 guards, immediately securing the floor. He approached Maya and Joon-suk, his expression grim. "Mrs. Park, Zara is safe. I have our best men with her. She's fine." Maya nodded, unable to speak. At least their daughter was safe. At least there was that. "What about Han?" Joon-suk asked. "Dead. His 2 conspirators as well. The rest of the underbosses are being questioned, but initial reports suggest most of them had no idea Han was planning violence. They're in shock." "Good," Joon-suk said coldly. "Make sure they understand what happens to anyone who threatens this family." Hours crawled by with agonizing slowness. Nurses tried to get Maya to change out of her bloody clothes, but she refused. She wanted Joon to see what he'd saved her from when he woke up. Because he would wake up. He had to. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the surgical doors opened. Dr. Kim emerged, still in his scrubs, exhaustion clear on his face. Maya was on her feet instantly, Joon-suk beside her. "How is he?" "He's alive," Dr. Kim said, and Maya nearly collapsed with relief. The bullet missed his heart by centimeters. It clipped his lung and lodged near his shoulder blade. "We've removed it and repaired the damage, but he lost a tremendous amount of blood. The next 48 hours are critical." "Can I see him?" Maya's voice was barely a whisper. "He's in recovery, still unconscious. But yes, you can see him." They led her to a private room where Joon lay surrounded by machines. He was deathly pale, with tubes and wires everywhere, his chest heavily bandaged. Maya approached slowly, afraid he might disappear if she moved too fast. She sat in the chair beside his bed and took his hand carefully. It was cold, so cold. She brought it to her lips, kissing his knuckles. "I'm here," she whispered. "Right here, and I'm not going anywhere." Joon-suk stood at the doorway, giving them privacy but refusing to leave entirely. Maya was grateful for his presence, for not being completely alone in this nightmare. "You saved my life," Maya said softly to unconscious June. "You threw yourself in front of a bullet for me without hesitation. That's the kind of man you are. The kind of husband. The kind of father." Her voice broke. "Now you need to fight to come back to us. To your daughter. To me. To the life we're building." She laid her head on the bed beside his arm, exhaustion finally catching up to her. But she didn't sleep. She just watched him breathe, counting each rise and fall of his chest, making sure he was still alive. Hours passed. Day turned to night. Maya didn't move except to use the bathroom quickly and return immediately. Nurses brought her water and food she didn't touch. Joon-suk brought Zara briefly so June could hear his daughter's voice, hoping it might help him fight. Maya held Zara close to June's face, letting the baby coo and babble. "Daddy's sleeping, baby girl, but he can hear you. Tell him to wake up. Tell him you need him." As if understanding, Zara reached out and touched June's cheek with her tiny hand. For just a moment, Maya could swear his fingers twitched. Just slightly, but it was something. A sign he was still fighting. "That's it," Maya whispered, hope blooming fragile in her chest. "You fight. You come back to us." Night deepened. Joon-suk had taken Zara home, promising to return in the morning. Min-jae stood guard outside. Maya was finally alone with her husband and she started talking, telling him everything she needed him to hear. "Remember what you promised me? That I'd never face this world alone? You can't break that promise now." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "Remember the night we met? I was so broken, drowning in bad decisions and cheap whiskey. And you saw something in me worth saving." She squeezed his hand, willing him to squeeze back. "You showed me what real love looks like, what real strength is. You put me back together piece by piece. Now it's my turn. I'm going to sit here and remind you of everything you're fighting for." Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. "Fight for Zara. She's only 4 months old. She needs her daddy to teach her how to be strong and kind and brave. Fight for us. For every morning we haven't had yet. Every ordinary moment we're supposed to share." Maya leaned closer, her forehead resting against his arm. "Fight for me. Because I can't do this without you. I need my husband. The father of my child. The man who showed me what love really means. You once told me I made you stronger," she continued, her voice breaking. "That I gave you something worth protecting. Well, you do the same for me. You're my strength. My home. My everything." She was crying openly now, tears falling on his hand. "So you come back to me. You hear me? You come back. I love you so much. Please don't leave me." The machines beeped steadily, the only sound in the quiet room. Maya stayed there, head resting beside him, holding his hand, and prayed to every god she'd ever heard of that he would wake up. She must have dozed off from exhaustion because she woke to the sound of alarms. Her head snapped up, disoriented. The monitors were going crazy, showing erratic readings. Nurses rushed in, pushing her aside. "What's happening?" Maya's voice was panicked. "His blood pressure is dropping. Get the doctor now." More medical staff poured in, surrounding June, blocking him from her view. Maya pressed against the wall, watching in horror as they worked frantically. Then she heard it. That sound. The long, continuous beep of a flat line. "No!" Maya screamed, trying to push forward. "June!" Someone held her back as the doctor grabbed the defibrillator. "Clear!" June's body arched from the shock. The line stayed flat. Again, clear! Another shock. Still nothing. Maya couldn't breathe. The world was ending. Her husband was dying right in front of her, and she couldn't do anything to stop it. "Come on!" the doctor shouted. "Clear!" A third shock. Maya held her breath, her entire body shaking. Then, miracle of miracles, the monitor beeped. Once, twice. A rhythm establishing itself, weak, but there. "We've got him," the doctor said, relief clear in his voice. "He's back. Heart rate stabilizing." Maya's legs gave out completely. She would have hit the floor if a nurse hadn't caught her. They helped her to a chair as the medical team continued working to stabilize June fully. "He's okay?" Maya managed to ask through her tears. "He's really okay?" "He's stable," the doctor confirmed. "That was close, but he's fighting. He's still fighting." 2 days later, Maya woke to movement beside her. She'd finally fallen asleep in the chair next to June's bed, her hand still wrapped around his. Now something had changed. His fingers twitched against hers. Her eyes flew open. "June?" His eyelids fluttered, struggling to open. When they finally did, his gaze was unfocused at first, confused. Then his eyes found her face, and something shifted. Recognition. Love. Relief. "Maya?" His voice was rough, barely a whisper, but it was the most beautiful sound she'd ever heard. "I'm here." She was crying and laughing at the same time, her hands framing his face. "You're awake. You came back. You're okay." Each word seemed to cost him effort. "Yes, I'm okay. Because of you." She kissed his forehead, his cheeks, unable to stop touching him, needing to confirm he was real and alive. His hand lifted weakly to touch her face, and she leaned into it. "Had to come back to you. You died for a minute," Maya said, tears streaming freely. "Your heart stopped, and I thought I'd lost you. But you fought. You came back. Zara? She's safe." Maya's voice broke. June's eyes filled with tears, and Maya had never seen him cry before. Not like this. "I love you. So much. I love you too. More than anything." Jun-suk appeared in the doorway with May beside him, and Maya saw how they stood close together, her hand in his. When had that happened? But there was no time to think about it because Jun-suk's face crumpled with relief when he saw his brother awake. "Welcome back," Jun-suk said, his voice thick with emotion. June managed a weak smile. "Didn't think you'd get rid of me that easily." Over the next week, June's recovery progressed steadily. The hospital room became a revolving door of visitors. Syndicate members came to pay respects, all pledging absolute loyalty. The assassination attempt had unified them in a way Maya's speech never could have. Min-jae reported that the remaining conspirators had been dealt with, and the organization was more united than ever. The peace treaty with the Jade Serpents held strong. May herself had come to visit, standing beside Jun-suk in a way that made their relationship obvious to anyone paying attention. Maya caught May's eye one afternoon when June was sleeping. They stepped into the hallway together. "Thank you for being here," Maya said. "For him." She nodded toward where Jun-suk stood guard at his brother's door. May smiled softly. "He's important to me. I can see that." May glanced back at the room where June slept. "What you both did, the peace you built, it matters. More than you know." "I hope so. I hope it was worth all this." "It was. Trust me." Finally, after 2 weeks, the doctors cleared June to go home. The drive home felt surreal. June's hand stayed clasped in Maya's the entire way, like he couldn't bear to let her go. When they pulled up to the penthouse, Min-jae and the security team were waiting, along with Jun-suk and May. But the best part was inside. The nanny had Zara ready, and the moment they walked through the door, Maya took their daughter and brought her to June. Zara's face lit up at the sight of her father, and she reached for him with her tiny hands. June sat carefully on the couch, and Maya placed Zara in his arms, supporting them both. Tears streamed down June's face as he held his daughter for the first time since the shooting. "Hey, baby girl," he whispered. "Daddy missed you so much." Zara grabbed his finger and smiled, that pure, innocent baby smile, and June completely fell apart. Maya wrapped her arms around them both, her own tears falling, and they stayed like that for a long time, a family reunited, whole again. 3 weeks later, June was strong enough to stand on their penthouse balcony at sunset. Maya stood wrapped in his arms, her back against his chest, watching Seoul's lights begin to twinkle as dusk settled over the city. Zara slept peacefully in her bassinet beside them. "How does it feel?" Maya asked softly. "Being alive?" "Like a gift I don't deserve." His arms tightened around her. "I keep thinking about that moment, seeing the gun pointed at you. There was no thought, no decision. Just knowing I couldn't let that bullet hit you. You almost died. But I didn't. And now we have this." He gestured to the city, to their daughter, to the life they'd built. "We have everything." Jun-suk and Mei joined them on the balcony, and Maya noticed how natural they looked together now. How right. "So when's your wedding?" Jun teased his brother. "Maya and I set a pretty high bar for chaotic romance." Mei laughed. "We're taking things slow, dating properly." "Unlike you two," Jun-suk added with a smile. "Best drunken decision I never remembered." "Making," Maya said, and everyone laughed. The conversation flowed easily, comfortable and warm. Two couples who'd found love in impossible circumstances, a baby who represented hope for a better future, a city at peace below them. "You know what's funny?" June said eventually, his voice thoughtful. 6 months ago, I thought power meant controlling everything, eliminating every threat, building walls to keep everyone out. "And now?" Maya asked. "Now I know real power is this, having something worth surviving for, people worth fighting for." He kissed the top of her head. "You gave me everything, Maya. A family, a purpose, a love I never knew existed." Maya turned in his arms to face him. "We gave each other everything." June kissed her as the last rays of sunset painted the sky gold and pink. When they broke apart, both were smiling. "I love you," Maya whispered. "I love you more." Jun-suk cleared his throat dramatically. "You two are disgustingly sweet." "Jealous?" June challenged. Jun-suk pulled Mei closer. "Not anymore." As darkness fell over Seoul, the four of them stood together on the balcony. Two brothers reunited. Two women who'd changed everything. A baby sleeping peacefully, unaware her parents had fought through hell to give her this future. They'd survived violence, betrayal, bullets, and blood, and built something beautiful from the chaos. A family, a peace, a love strong enough to take a bullet for. Maya looked at June, at the scar that would forever remind them of the day he chose her over his own life. She thought about the drunk woman who'd stumbled into a Seoul bar 6 months ago and made the craziest decision of her life. That woman could never have imagined this, standing on a penthouse balcony with a husband who'd literally die for her, a daughter who was her world, a family they'd nearly died protecting. As Seoul sparkled below, they held each other tight. The journey had been insane, dangerous, impossible, but somehow they'd found their happy ending. And it was perfect. So there you have it. From one drunken mistake to forever. If their story made you believe in impossible love, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of second chances. Drop a comment with your favorite moment. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the worst nights lead to the best forevers. This is the Dawn's possessive obsession, and this is how their story ends, with love, family, and hard-won peace.